There's a reason why everyone that believes that college is a scam or that the entire education system is rigged or that kind of stuff. You have tens of students that are taking out tens of thousands of dollars in loans. I think the average, we'll put up the stats, the average student loans around 30 something thousand dollars a year. Students are majoring, the most popular majors are like business, humanities, history, health. Engineering is pretty up there, but it doesn't get as many attraction as it's supposed to. Now, why that is, and this seems to be a unique problem in the US at least. I think there is an entire slew of reasons that contributes to this, but I will try to narrow it down into a few reasons and give you the solution that I think would solve this exact problem for everybody. Now, if you look at the education system in its entirety in the USA, it's pretty like hands off. There is no guidance, there is no direction, there is no anything. When you're in middle school to high school, even up until college, you're not really being guided towards a direction. You're sort of being given a variety of subjects. You're learning history, geography, if you're lucky in elementary, and math, sciences, and all that kind of stuff. But then you're not really being guided towards, hey, this is what you're good at. Let's try to narrow you down towards a certain path that doesn't exist. You're being given a variety of options. And when you go to college, this problem becomes worse. You go to a university that has 50, 70, sometimes even 80 majors, and you kind of have to pick something and stick with it. Mind you, you're paying 60, 70, sometimes $80,000 a year if you go to a private school. If you go to a public school, maybe 20, 30 if you're lucky. I don't think there's even schools that cost 20 anymore. You're talking upwards of $30,000 a year. And these are the cheapest options. Now, like we mentioned earlier, a lot of students are taking out loans. So you're paying to essentially be lost. Now, there's a concept or a problem, a paradox called the paradox of choice. This concept is that when you give people too many options, this now becomes a problem. And instead of making it easy for them to make a choice, now making a choice in of itself becomes a problem because there's a million, sometimes even seemingly an infinite number of options. That is a catastrophe if you apply it to an education. People should have an idea of what they want to study, what they think that they're good at, and all that kind of stuff. They should have an idea of that kind of stuff. But our education system is so big, right, both literally and figuratively, that the students have no idea what they should go into. They have no idea what to study. They have no idea how to even guide themselves. There's not even like a support system. Their parents are telling them, hey, go study. Sometimes, some parents will tell you, go study what makes you happy. And what makes me happy sometimes it's what is gonna make me homeless the next day and also gonna put me in a lot of debt. And some parents go the opposite route, the complete opposite. Do engineering, do science, do medicine, and forget about having a life or anything of that sort. Truth always lies somewhere in the middle. Now, for myself, I have had I've been lucky that I didn't have to take out a lot of loans, but I didn't know what I want to study, much like probably 99.9% of students in universities in America. And I was able to come up with a method that helped me solve this problem. But I think the thing that doesn't really get discussed often or doesn't get discussed enough is how the education system that we currently have is essentially just a system set up to milk as much money off of us as possible without giving us any return on our investment. And then when you have a bunch of people that come out and demand the loan forgiveness or things of that sort because they have been in fact screwed up or screwed over by the system, they looked at as like, oh, you're ungrateful, you're trying to leech off of the people who are paying these taxes and all that kinds of stuff. Well, you haven't really been helping me to make a good option. As a matter of fact, you've exploited me and set up a system in which you'll maximize your profits off of me without giving me any kind of a guidance. And then you expect me to just come out now and just be like, oh, okay, I'll just take accountability for this and just figure the solution to my problems out on my own. I'm not taking accountability off of these people's backs. What I'm saying is there is a portion of accountability that should be taken from the government, from the education system, from these schools that causes them to like say, hey, we're accountable for the fact that we contributed to this problem. Here's the thing: the university costs can continuously go up. Within the 4 years that I was in college, the cost of my university went up by a couple of $1,000s, right? And on top of that, they add new majors every so often, right? So some universities have added like upwards of 5 majors within a year or something to that effect, right? And in some universities, I don't know if this is like a still a popular thing, but if you don't know what to study, you have the option of literally creating your own major. That could be a good thing and it could be a horrible thing as well. On top of having 40, 50 majors, you now have the option of creating a brand new one on your own. Oh, and mind you, good luck getting an internship or a job afterwards. If you don't get something that is something that people can sort of recognize and be like, okay, I know what this is. That's in regards to the education system, and it's all the problem that comes with it. Now, uh, there's a reason when people come out and say education system, the entire education system is a scam. It's a Ponzi scheme. All these terminologies, it's not entirely true, right? But it's also not entirely false either. There is some level of truth to that. Yeah, like the system is set up in a way where your survival is not really something that is a priority. Nobody's really out here putting an emphasis on this. I remember when I was in high school, a lot of teachers said, it doesn't matter, try to get the college experience, do what makes you happy. All these like jargons and terminologies that sort of just set you up for failure instead of actually telling you, hey, listen, here's what you could do, here's what you could end up, here's what you should do, here's what you might want to do, here's the potential outcomes for some of the decisions that you might be interested in making. Nobody's having these pragmatic conversations with you, right? And hopefully that's what I'm going to try to do with you. Now, here is a solution to the problem that I was able to devise for myself. And much like everyone else, I initially was a physics major. I was on a pre-dentistry track. I wanted to be a dentist, but I didn't really sort of know how to go about that whole thing. So I just said, hey, I want to study, this track and whatnot. And I ended up switching that whole thing up, and I ended up studying computer science. Now, what is important to this video is the solution that I devised to figure out why or how to pick a major and actually stick through with it, right? Number one, figure out what you really, really hate. I need you to figure out what is it that you despise. What's the major that you really cannot sit in a classroom in for more than 5 seconds? Figure what that class is or that subject matter is and avoid it by all cost. Okay, number one, figure out what you completely dislike and stay away from that whole thing, right? Figure out what is it that you're good at. What are you actually good at, right? And this doesn't have to be, I'm good at philosophy, I'm good at, no. Figure out what you're good at, as in like figure out what are the things, the subject matter that you actually are good at. Some people have a problem-solving mind, right? Some people have a creative brain. Some people have an ability to organize complex things into simpler things like that. Figure out what that thing is. For me, initially, what I really hated was biology, chemistry, and classes of these sorts. And how did I figure that out? Well, like I said, I was on a pre-dentistry track, and to be on that, you need to, at least to complete it, you need to do 1 year of chemistry, 1 year of biology, 1 year of physics, and so on. And that is a lot of biology and chemistry and lab work. I took first year biology, first year chemistry, and physics 1, and physics was fine, but I hated the other classes. I completely hated being in labs. I hated doing lab work. I hated that whole entire thing. Now, that's a good thing, right? And the reason why that's a good thing is because I know what I don't want to do. And figuring out what you don't want to do is a really good thing because there's something called the process of elimination to make a selection at the end of it, right? If you eliminate, just like if you have a multiple choice question, you eliminate all the wrong ones and then you narrow the questions down until maybe a lesser number of options, right? And figure out what you are really like not bad at, what you really hate, right? Figure out what you really, really, really hate. That's number one. Number two, what are you good at, right? What is it that I'm good at? For me, one thing that I was good at is problem solving. I enjoyed puzzles. I enjoyed taking in concepts and trying to figure out how to solve a problem. I enjoyed if I had to wait, working in labs and being in a chemistry lab or biology lab against being in a classroom doing math all day. Between the two evils, the lesser evil for me was mathematics. Right? I said I'd rather be in a math classroom, despite how difficult that was. I would rather be doing that than be doing this. Right? So do the exact same thing. Figure out what is it that you rather be doing than what you are currently doing. Right? And lastly, I need you to. Money is an important factor. I'm sorry to say, but money is an important factor. There's no reason why you should be going to a school taking on, tens of thousands of dollars of loans and not really investing into making a good return on your investment afterwards, right? So, what is the potential majors that combines that excludes what you hate, takes into account what you really are good at conceptually, but also combines that with a good return on your investment. Okay, so if I had to apply it to myself, one, what is that I really hated? What I hated was biology and chemistry in these classes, right? Lab work and these kinds of classes. Okay, eliminate those ones. What is it that I really like? Problem solving. What is a major that has problem solving, is void of biology and chemistry, and has a good return on investment, right? Computer science was the obvious thing for me, right? And for other people, it could be other things, right? So for you, you could be the opposite of me. You could be somebody who hates mathematics, who hates problem solving, but enjoys being in a lab, working with other people, pipetting, following a experiment procedure, and things of that sort. These kind of things that could be really fun for you. If that's what you really are interested in, then eliminate mathematics. So focus on taking, maybe majoring in biology or chemistry or things of that sort, and figure out what are the majors that are what are the jobs out there that combine that elements of that things that you enjoy, research and things like that, and then give you a good return on investment. That's going to be some research you're going to have to do on your own. Like, I can sort of help you with that, and ultimately combine those three things, and that should give you a proper recipe into solving this problem. And remember, when it comes to college, always remember to make sure decisions that you are making, you wade into them as much as possible. Finances. Finances need to be weighted into every decision you make in college, because remember, you're going to be taking on a lot of loans, man. A lot of loans, and if you don't have a plan, you're just gonna destroy yourself. There's no other way around it, and that's basically my advice. That's the solution to the problem that I laid out. And if I forgot anything of that sort, if you have any questions, just leave a comment in the comment section down below, and see you on the next one.